Hello, and welcome to Tea with the Goddess. We are going to be celebrating the new moon, which is technically tomorrow morning at about 10:45, I believe. And today was the equinox, the balance of day and night, and the beginning of spring, for which many of us are grateful. Of course, also for many of us, this beginning of spring actually depicts any kind of weather that wants to arrive. Could be 3 feet of snow or more. If you're in lovely Colorado, it could be sleet, icy roads, or beautiful sunshine or rain here in the Northwest. It could be humid as all get out in Florida. We never know. Spring is a lovely time of year, full of many, many possibilities. Today's tea is Twinings Earl Grey, decaf, of course, because it is later at night. It just felt like a great time for something normal to kind of balance the fun little treat we have. I know it's not really in bulk anymore, but it was just too cute to say no to. A chocolate cupcake to honor the new moon. I'm going to try and do something a little different today. We'll see how it works. I said all this has been experimental, trying different cameras. Actually, I've been trying like 3 different cameras for the last half an hour. So this is what you get today. This is what I get today. So new moon, the ending of things, the beginning of things, that part of the cycle that closes one door and opens a window, or we step through to something new, that technically marks the end of something as we look towards the beginning. I have learned this last couple weeks that even when we end something, and maybe I talked about this on the last one, even when we end something, it is not just over. There seems to be cycles of grief. I'm pretty sure I talked about it last time, which you might not have been able to find because I tried doing it live last time, and it appeared in a different section on the YouTube channel. So, things to play with. But as we grow, as things change, as memories change, or as hope changes, we realize that things we have thought we'd said goodbye to, things we thought we'd put to bed, or let go of, that for some things there are remnants. And I think the bigger the thing, the bigger the impact it has in our lives, whether it is a person that has passed on, or a job that we used to have, or a dream that we thought we'd given up. The bigger it was, the more important, the more impactful, the more echoes it has in our lives, and the more ways it sometimes seems that it can die. Because, it's removing little bits from here and there as we grow and cycle through new things, as new seasons come and go. There are new avenues of grief in a way, or of acknowledging the depth of the loss. But that being said, I really feel like now is the time to focus more on the new things that I want to start. It is spring, so life is really growing. Imbolc was when things started waking up, and now, they're gaining momentum, and we're stretching and yawning and getting things out of our system that were kind of moody. Um, and so there's a lot of growth energy out there. There's a lot of hope and excitement because, the sun is coming, the sun is going to be here, the more days, then there will be more light, then there will be dark. And of course, we also went through the daylight savings time for most of us. Arizona, I envy you. So there's also that change, readjusting our inner clock to match the societal clock, and more light at the end of the day. So for me, spring is a good time to start things. It's not January, the beginning of the year, New Year's resolution, because we're still kind of going through the mourning period in January and recovering from the party season and kind of still evaluating and taking stock of what we're ready to get rid of. And so it's in spring that we start looking forward again to the things we want to do. And manifesting seems to be a big topic this year for a variety of things. So I wanted to kind of work on some manifestation connection with the divine. Because it's real easy to talk about it and to think about past aspects, but each time we get good at something, we need to start something new to continue that skill, to keep it fresh. Because the things we have done, like manifesting a vehicle or a rug or a friend, that's stuff we've done. That's easy. So now we're on to the next big thing because life isn't just one object or one aspect or one perspective. So that being babbled, we'll see how that flows. Let's get comfortable and just release the breath. Settle into the spot, into the space. Since this is not live, I'm comfortable saying, if you need to cleanse your space, now's a good time to pause and do that. If you haven't set your tea or drink or whatever to steep, now's a good time to do that before we relax in and invite the divine to join us. So when you're ready, inhale and exhale. And inhale. And just exhale, blow it all out. Feel everything drain from the top of the head and the bottom of the feet. And then relax and let the breath come in again. And exhale. And inhale through the nose, following the breath in and down the back of the throat. And exhale through the mouth. And feel the space around you expand. And inhale. Feel that breath root you to the seat and root you to the sky. And exhale, creating this space, this sacred circle. And inhale, let the body relax as you exhale. Feel the relaxation flow down. And breathing easily and effortlessly, inhaling and exhaling in your own time. Be aware of this space around you, this bubble where nothing can come in except that which is the best for you. No thoughts will come in except that which we need. This is a sacred space for us and the divine to communicate, to connect, to have a moment of peace and relaxation and celebration. And so, of course, we invite our esteemed guests, the divine, feminine, in honor of the moon, and any other beings who wish to join and share in our discussion, our connection for spring, for new things in love and trust, hope and joy. Welcome, welcome. I have not yet cut the cake because I didn't want to ruin it before I showed you the piece. I think last time I tried to display it after it had been cut, it was a little messy. So excuse me while I make sure I've got a little piece available. So I would like to talk about what I want, basically. What I want to manifest for myself, what I want spring, summer, fall to look like and feel like. And I am going to be focusing on the physical because I feel that I have a pretty good connection on many other aspects in my life. But I'm still working on that whole connecting with my body and communicating with it and being able to really feel myself happy and healthy in my body. For me, manifesting is all about feeling. And it's not necessarily about feeling the moment where something has appeared, begun, but feeling that moment after. The moment where I look back and say, thank you for the money that has flown in. Thank you that I have this vehicle. Thank you that I have these clothes. Thank you that I have this amazing job. I mean, this job that I have, and that feeling inside, that gratitude, kind of a 90% increase in feeling good towards everybody else because things are going my way. Um, Also, confidence in self because each accomplishment leads to the belief that there can be more accomplishments. So I personally have this lovely foundation of things that I have finally gotten into the groove for. And every day I am grateful for. So I can look back on some of them and pinpoint the moments, the time frame when I was actively bringing it in, when I had crossed that threshold, walked through the doorway of desperately seeking to believing. And that is a good time for new moon and spring new moon. That's a good doorway to use to move from why can't I, why can't I, why can't I, why, to, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. So we're going to do two things. We're going to actually do 5 minutes of personal chatting with the divine, with the goddess, or whatever beings have come to assist you. Um, we'll see how that goes, see how it feels. But before we do that, I would just like to exercise a memory. So pick something that was accomplished. Um, Something that you're able to manifest. Something that even now, when you think of it, whew, lovely shivers, you can think how awesome it is that you have succeeded at whatever or changed, transformed whatever. Anything from healing to getting the laundry done, because sometimes it's really hard to do the homework. Sometimes that takes the most energy because nobody outside is paying us to keep our house clean. We don't have to be accountable to anybody else but ourselves. So sometimes that takes twice as much work. So something that you're able to look at and say, this is done. Thank God it's done. You know, if you've been able to pay off a credit card bill or your car is paid off, your financial accomplishment, having received some money, just the glorious feeling that that can bring, or graduating for something, or getting a specific job that you still love and enjoy, or a vehicle, or clothes, or having gone on a vacation. Think of something that still brings you not only the kind of giddy, so I did that, yes, that happened, but a little bit of awe as well of, oh my gosh, that really happened to me, for me, I made that happen. That came into my life, because nothing can come into your life without you connecting with it in some way. and that's the wrong word, actually, it's not nothing. Many things come into and through our lives, but the things we are most affected by, we have somehow connected to. And unfortunately, that does count for things that are less happy. Um, because in one way or another, we have had, you know, through growing up, through things we've heard, through belief systems, that the soundtrack that runs in our head, we have said, this is what I'm attracting in my life right now. So, especially those things, if you've been able to release those things in one fashion or another, even if it's just one day of having accomplished something, that feeling of awe, of giddiness, and if you're like me, emotional release, like just wanting to still break down and cry at the relief of having whatever it was come into existence or go out of existence. So take a nibble, take a drink, sit, let us sit with ourselves for a moment and pick the moment or even just connect with that feeling, having accomplished, and all the side feelings that go with it, which may include a little grief. Um, because that is done, and now what do we do? And it may include a little fear of, oh my goodness, can I do it again? The whole myriad of feelings of having accomplished something, manifested something, brought something joyous into life. Let's sit with it for a minute. You might want to write it down, just keywords, so you can reconnect with that feeling in a few minutes. Mine has to do with the job that I have, the work that I'm doing, one of my jobs. Because I remember um, standing on my balcony and looking out at the 9 to 5ers driving home for the day and thinking about how it would feel to be one of them, to be part of that cycle, to be one of the people in my big SUV driving home from a job that I love. How it would feel to be not only tired from the day and glad that it's over, even though I've loved the work and the people I'm working with. Glad that, it's time to move to the next thing in my day. Um, and I remember, how I felt standing there. And it's easy to connect with that because today I did work that job that manifestation connected me to. And at the end of today, which, I'm I've been in the job for more than a year now, so I've got a lot of work to do, and it's one of our busy seasons. So there's just so much, and sometimes it feels like it's overwhelming, but really, I am still just a little awed, AWED, and excited. And it is amazing to not only feel good about the work I'm doing, but to feel good about coming home and not doing extra work, because I know I'll be able to do more tomorrow. And I know that it's good to be able to stop and change tracks and do something else. And so it's this huge kaleidoscope of colors. So I'm using that feeling um, because it's the most recent gratitude moment I've had. And I can still connect it back to the manifestation moment, which was a really gray day also. So, and today was kind of gray, but there was light. So it's just a nice arc, a nice cycle of manifesting. So I'm going to use that feeling to connect to. And as I connect to that, I am going to talk to you about what I want to bring in next for my physical self, for my body, for my health, my strength. I'm also going to give us 5 minutes to have our conversations individually. I'm going to turn on some music. I don't know that the microphone is going to pick it up, but I think it will at least mask my conversation. So feel free to turn on some music or some white noise or something that you enjoy. I go back and forth on the music that I like to use when connecting with the divine. It really depends on my mood and what kind of meditation I'm doing. But I have a relaxation radio from Pandora that I will be playing so that, if we can hear it, it will kind of be the interference for us. I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes so that it doesn't become too awkward with weird silence and staring at the screen. Again, if this isn't the part you really want to do, you can fast forward. But we are connecting with the feeling of something that we have accomplished, have manifested, with that whole kaleidoscope of feelings and range of emotions that brings, especially if we're able to connect it to a moment that was before the accomplishment. And we are going to sit with that feeling and talk about the next thing we want to bring into our lives. And because putting it out into the universe not only helps us, say this is what I want, but it also helps define it for us. Sometimes, all this stuff that runs around in our heads, actually giving it form in words is the beginning of giving it form. So let's see what happens. Um, yeah, let's find out. One, that. part of it, that major thing as I said this. Ding. Move, move it to this one. And then flip that. This. Move. 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 And it's still half an hour later. Do I no? She is not strong. And it's cute. And listens to remember this and hope and surrounded and standing down the trees. Sit in the chair to just release the time. Stop and all right. That is our 5 minutes. Again, feel free to pause if you are in the middle of an intense discussion. If you're like me, it took a little minute to transition from the expressing of what I wanted to being able to feel those moments. Um, to feel the moment past the accomplishment. And it is interesting to me how many of the moments of accomplishment are accompanied by a little lingering, not even doubt, but connection with a time where I didn't have whatever. A connection to the feelings that prompted that desire, which, according to Abraham Hicks, is the way that it works. We come into something that we are uncomfortable with, that does not resonate well with us, that we want to change, and we put out into the universe the first thing, the desire for it to change. And then we have to focus in on what we want it to change into. So, thank you. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for taking this experiment with me. I hope that it was helpful. And I know that if you're like me, this is just a step. I need to continue connecting with that feeling, doing it with our eyes open, connecting with that feeling in everyday activity so that we are, in the flow of how good that feels. Remembering ahead of time how awesome it is to have accomplished, manifested, healed, created, released, whatever it is that we are aiming for spring. Whatever seed we have planted in this time with the divine, we continue to water it with the feelings of how we really want it to be, how we really want it to feel. So, or very good cake. So today, I'm not sure which I want. Guess we'll do this. I'm going to do the Labyrinth Wisdom cards again. I just like having something at the end of the day to help focus whatever the connection with the goddess was. And I do want to share. So I'm sitting differently. It just felt right to make the change. And for me anyway, because I am right-handed, right hand being the dominant hand, being the hand that I put out energy with, basically. That means the left is the receiving, the feminine, because feminine tends to be more inward and the masculine tends to be more outward. So it felt right to switch sides and have the goddess kind of front and center and on my left. And so also on my left is a window. You can kind of maybe see the curtain there on the edge and the sill. And it is night out. And so I see my reflection in the window with the black behind it. It actually is kind of cool to use that to actually have a visual of a being to speak with. A little weird. Sometimes I did a lot of closing my eyes or talking to the chair. But it added a pretty funky aspect to it, especially when I'm able to get into that moment of connection with the other world. Release the, ooh, it's going to be weird, and really sink into it. So, that being said, and that's the other thing I forgot until I was halfway through my conversation, to bring the energy and the thought and the feeling down here into the heart. So, as we go forward in the next couple weeks, hello, let us remember to feel it here, not just think about it, but feel it, and let the feeling just sit and be there as we go through our life. And card is emotions. Life is a sensual experience. Let your emotions flow. There's a lot of color in this card. I would say it's a little chaotic, like spring. But I think everything really is associated with how we feel. We can be brainy about things, but we don't enjoy being smart in whatever aspect that is, then we're not going to feel smart in whatever that aspect is, if that makes sense. So, really, I guess, exploring our emotions. For example, mine, the thing I will be working on is my health, my physical body, being connected, being communicated, getting slender, getting flexible, getting strong. And it has to be that I feel slender, I feel flexible, I feel strong. And it will be things I've already noticed. For example, some foods bloat you, some foods don't. If I eat something that will bloat me, I don't feel slender. It doesn't matter if it was less than 200 calories. I feel constricted. And so that would not be a good food to consume. I enjoy dancing. So that would be something to help get into shape to measure my strength with. I do not really enjoy going to gyms and being in that energy. It doesn't feel alive enough to me. And interestingly, I've learned that I don't really enjoy going for walks just for the sake of exercising. But if I'm going somewhere, or if I'm going to go take pictures, or if we're hiking through something, that is different than, I have to go take a walk. So being aware of the feelings of each activity that we are doing to connect with what we're bringing into being will also help, because we want to be joyous as we're doing it. And there is a difference between, feeling sore and kind of frustrated at the end of a yoga session where I wasn't as flexible as I wanted to be, but I know that tomorrow will be better. There's a difference between that feeling and the feeling of frustration when I'm walking down the street to accomplish this goal, and there's cars passing by because I'm on a street and there's not really anything to look at, and I get home and I'm just like, that takes more out of me than puts into me. So it's not just the feeling of accomplishment, but the road we take to get there as well. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining me today. And I hope you don't mind. I'm going to end with a little song. Because I think it's a good reminder. And to me, it is pretty much the embodiment right now of my belief system. So, we are held in the hands of the Mother. We are held in the hands of the Father. We are held in the heart of strength and joy. Let life be in love. We are held. May we always be aware of the love that surrounds us and makes every effort just a little bit easier. Blessings, and I hope you have a great day.